This is lesson 50B as in boy in algebra 2, completing the square, and we're starting out with our next example, example number 50.2. So let's go ahead and see what we've got. Okay, now the key thing is to arrange. Our x squared goes first, our x goes next, our number goes last, and it always equals 0. Okay, now we find out, are there two numbers multiplied together that give us 5 and added give us 2? Well, the only two numbers multiplied together give us 5 is 5 and 1, and we can't combine those and get a 2. So that means we're going to complete the square. Complete the square always works. Okay, so we write it as x squared plus 2x, leave a space, and bring that over here. Now we take half of this and square it. So what is half of 2? Half of 2 is 1. Square 1 is 1. This will always be a plus. And we also add 1 to this side. So then this becomes 6. So we have x squared plus 2x plus 1 equals 6. Make our parentheses, square it, put that sign down here, square root of that, square root of 1 equals 6. Alright, next step is we take the square root of both sides, and that becomes plus or minus. So we have x plus 1 equals plus or minus the square root of 6. X equals negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 6. That's the format I'd like, the radical last, so that the plus or minus sign is right there. Alright, let's jump up to example number 3, which is 50.3. X squared equals 5x minus 5. Okay, we're going to set it equal to 0, so that's got to go to the other side, which means the sign changes on everything since we moved it. Whoops, there's that x there. Now we're going to take this and move it to the other side. I know it seems kind of redundant to move it one way and then move it back, but it's just gives you some practice here. Once you get going on this, you're just going to move the 5x over, and you could have left this 5 on the right, but we didn't. So now we're going to take half of 5. Well, the 5 over 1 is the same as 5, and I'm going to take half of that. I double that. So plus, again, always plus, 5 over 2, and then we're going to square it. So again, it's always half of the middle term squared. So that gives me x squared minus 5x plus 25 over 4, and don't forget to add that 25 over 4 over here. What you do here, you have to do here. So let's go ahead and add these. So that's going to be negative 20 over 4 plus 25 over 4. So that gives me 5 over 4. So when I add these, I get 5 over 4. Alright, so let's get rid of some of this, and we're going to write that as 5 over 4. Alright, make my parenthesis, square it, put a minus sign here, take the square root of the first term, square root of that means I take the square root of 25 and the square root of 4. Okay, now I take square root of both sides, plus or minus, and I get x minus 5 halves equals plus or minus the square root of 5 over 4. Okay, so there's a few things we're going to do here yet, but at least we know that this is where we're at so far. Alright, so we're going to move the 5 halves over. Okay, this right here is what we're going to look at. Just going to simplify it, because the square root of 5 over 4 is the same as the square root of 5 over the square root of 4, and I know that is 2. So x equals 5 halves plus or minus the square root of 5 over 2. And that ends up being my answer. Okay, so that is it for lesson number 50. And you have the practice problem there, and you have 6, 7, and 8 to also solve by completing the square, doing it exactly like I just did. So just refer back to these videos and you should be fine.